was basically layering up. It was just stacking. And eventually, something was going to erupt from our perspective, just based on the conduct that we had observed. And most importantly, something that I haven't shared with you yet is this. Dating back even to October, our mid-watch patrol officers had been coming across juveniles with handguns, committing armed robberies in the area of the Taco Bell, for one, for instance. Fortunately, on one particular evening, one of my UC, my undercover guys, in a non-police looking police car, observed the mall security officers approaching a group of 3 males on the parking lot. And my guy just happened to be in the right place. And when these mall officers were approaching, and of course, the mall security guys, they're unarmed, okay? And the first thing my guy, I hear it on the radio, he says, the guy in the white coat just tossed a gun into a bush as soon as the officer was arriving. So sure enough, once everybody stopped and handcuffed, my guy takes him over to this bush and says, did you drop something? And of course, the kid came out with a great story of, oh yeah, I found that today. I found that gun today, yeah. Oh, so you just put it in your pocket and decided to take it with you for the rest of the night. Sounds reasonable. Not. But guns were showing up. We were recovering guns. Violent crimes were occurring prior to December 26th. And the scariest thing from our perspective was what is unnerving to the officers that worked up there during this time period was the guns that we know that we missed. Meaning, there was a major fight at where else? The Santa Claus display, where all the moms and dads and little kids all line up to sit on Santa's lap. There's a huge fight there one night on a Saturday night. And it's a pretty big brawl. Shirts torn off. I mean, this was a good knockdown, drag out fight. When our officers got there, they described the primary perpetrator of the fight, gave a really good description, and they said, you all can't miss him. He doesn't have a shirt on anymore, and he's got a silver-handled pistol, some kind of handgun, tucked in his waistband. And of course, lucky me, I missed this cat by about 5 to 10 seconds. He rounded a corner about the time I got around a corner, and I'm like, boom, to give the description, and I went around that next corner, and he was already gone and out of sight. But there were so many witnesses there that night that said, hey man, he had a gun tucked in his waistband. Somebody else come up, hey, the man ran down through here, he had a gun tucked in his waistband. Those were the unnerving things for us, was individuals getting away that we know that were armed and definitely up to no good. We're not talking Jane and John Q. good citizen who goes and gets a concealed carry permit and takes the training. This is just somebody off the street that has no business carrying a weapon at all. And that was unnerving, I think, to a lot of us, that several times throughout that 8-week period, we unfortunately missed a few more guns that we would have liked to have taken off the street.
Has there been any backlash about this to the community? I mean, like from the community ever, like after the event? Like,
Are you asking like if anything negative
yeah.
came forward?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you heard a few folks got a little airtime, I think, on local media, but it was on and off the radar quick because the following Saturday, the General Growth Properties, that's the name of the company that owns them all, General Growth Properties adopted the PGR policy, parental guidance required policy. So they put it in effect the following Saturday night. And I worked that night, and we had a huge presence that night. We had roll call in this room, and half the room was 20 St. Matthews police officers, and the other half of the room back there was 20 LMPD officers. I mean, we decided that, okay, if it was going to happen again, we were going to be there ahead of time. You know, if something bad was going to happen, we were going to be on it from the get-go. Helicopter, the sheriff's department donated their prisoner vans. I mean, we were ready to go. Here's the great news for the community and from my perspective. We had nothing to do that night. 1 week later, we had nothing to do. And I totally give credit to General Growth Properties for adopting that policy. And here's the really, really, really good news for the community. Rather than backlash, I'd say there's been overwhelming support of the policy, because here it is 1 week after this major civil disturbance event. The mall was packed on January the 2nd. Packed. Packed with what? Shoppers. People loaded down with shopping bags, which is what the mall is used for, right? It's where people want to go shop and do their thing with their family and have a good evening and good experience. And here's a little commentary that just about every one of us that worked that night, when you went inside the mall, I had it happen to me 3 times. 3 different people, and I will say of different races, came up to me and said, "Hey, we're glad you're here.